Hey guys, in this episode of the Show Your Work series, we will chat with the lovely Deniz Günsav, who does a bit of everything from illustration, user interface design, to even motion graphics and animation. She will tell us about how she recently won the D&AD New Blood award and what it felt like to do a solo exhibition in London. Join us if you want to be inspired and learn some great techniques for promoting yourself and getting new clients. So this is a new episode of Show Your Work, and today we have Deniz. So you're originally from Turkey.
Yeah.
But now you studied here and work here in the UK.
I came here 4 years ago for uni, and I studied illustration at AUB, Arts University Bournemouth, and I graduated last summer. And since then, I'm working freelancing.
Cool, and you do a bit of illustration, now you do also UI, animation, motion design, so a lot of interesting things to look at. And I think we can already have like a good understanding of the style that you do if we look at your website. Most of your work would be vector-based.
Yeah.
But then you also have some raster effects added in Photoshop, as I understand. But we will be looking at the actual working files in this video. We will talk about a couple of interesting things, like I know that you won an award last year at the
D&AD New Blood.
And also you had recently a solo exhibition in Shoreditch, which is interesting, and it would be fun to find out a bit more about it.
This year been quite busy since, I won an award like literally 1 year ago. Like since then, I'm just in the industry professionally trying to work and find like widen my client base. So, but it's been quite successful, so I'm happy.
I'd like to congratulate you because there's already a lot of achievement, and we actually met. Was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I was about to mention that. It was 2 years ago, and I joined one of your events as a student to review my portfolio. I remember, I think I was quite shy, like as a student, I was not really proud of my work that much. And I remember like after leaving that event and feeling really motivated to do more work. So, and it was my third year, I guess, like beginning of the third year. So it was quite good way to start your final year. So
I'm really glad that it helped you.
It did really help me.
Gave you a boost.
Yeah, because I remember like leaving the event and calling my parents and telling them, oh, they really like my portfolio. So I'm really happy. Maybe I was considering to stay in the UK, but I was not really actually planning to stay. So maybe it was one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to stay, because it's good to see people's feedback. And that time I was not really that active on social media. So now I'm trying to like promote it. It was a good start. I'm really thankful for that.
That's great. It's good to hear that, and that's why I really like to do these type of events and also these videos, because I think a lot of people need a little bit of encouragement to do something. They probably have the talent already, like you as well. I could see it on your work that there's so much potential, and you just really needed a bit of feedback, which you don't necessarily get as much from friends or like even lecturers. You would listen to them, but it's always good to have that outside feedback.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I'm coming from a different country, and I did have friends at uni, but like still we didn't have that environment when you can get really useful feedback or comments. You can get comments from your friends or lecture, but they do help, but still it gets some comment who is in this industry, like working in this industry. So now I'm working in this company, like they've been my client for a year now, and they do have some like design teams and marketing teams, and we always have these meetings where we exchange our ideas, opinions, to just brainstorm and develop some ideas, and it's really useful. And I was thinking, like, I didn't really did that at uni. I didn't learn this. Illustration, I think, as a course itself is a bit independent. You don't really do projects like team projects. So
you don't
collaborate with other students that much. So I didn't really have that chance at my uni years. So like when you start working with clients, you kind of need to be good at in your like social relationships as well. Like you need to cooperate with others to deliver the project.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, I know that you are active on social media, so we can see that you have your work on Instagram, you have Dribble, you have Behance as well. So one thing that I always like to ask people, how much of the feedback that you get, like comments and likes, influences your work? Do you find that it helps you to decide what type of styles you should do more of, or you don't really let that influence you?
I mean, I'm actively using social media for a year. Thing I can say, I mean, I didn't really work too hard to gain followers, so I don't really have that like crazy follower.
Not yet.
I mean, I don't know. Not yet, maybe, hopefully. But,
by the way, we have all the links in the description below, so if you want to follow.
Yeah, if you want to, please follow me. So I do need some followers. It's a good way, like for example, Instagram, when you share your stories, you can actually ask your followers which option is better, which color option is better, or like do polls and stuff. And I think that is really useful.
So it's almost like an A/B testing with your followers.
Yeah, and it's people answer that, and you can get feedback.
If you ask important questions like that from your followers, it also shows that you care about them. Their opinion is important. So it's a great way to engage your follower base, and plus you get a lot out of it as well, because it's an honest feedback from them. Having said that, you recently had this exhibition, or a few months ago, right?
Yeah, in February. Yes.
So how did that go? Or how did it come? Was this an opportunity, or did you plan this?
I didn't plan it. It was an opportunity, and it's a funny fact because one of my friends from uni actually recommended my work, one of these organizers, and they approached me. It was a big risk for me because my work is quite digital, and I never done printed stuff at all. I had no idea about it, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I can do it. So I had no experience with framing. I didn't know any frame shops. I didn't know how I'm going to print my work. So I didn't know which one I'm going to pick, because they said like, oh, you should pick like 10 artworks. So it was like really big deal, and I had no idea. But I said this before, like you need to take these risks in life to be able to do this, because now I can say I did an exhibition in London. It sounds great, but it was really stressful.
And I'm sure a lot of work went into.
And I learned a lot. I mean, now I can do prints, and I can sell my work online, printed work, and I received good feedback from people, and I think it was a good way to promote my work as well, like on social media, because those events actually a good reason for you to put your work and just like share it. Like having that experience now, it opened up new doors. One
of the things that I really remember like standing out when I first seen your work was this series that you've done. It was a collaboration. Yeah,
it's for a brand called Harem. It's a Turkish brand. They do Turkish really traditional towels. They get it from Turkey and sell it in London. So they seen my other work, David. I won an award with this one, D&AD New Blood award. And I don't know, this work really got really good engagement on Instagram, because really an art and design account, they shared my work, and from that I gained so many followers, and people really like, I got like commissions as well. So also that's the way they found me. Probably they found it from there, and they were like, oh, we do also do bath towels, so you can actually do series with that same style with our products. So I done like 4 or 5.
And so for these ones, you actually already use the patterns of their products.
Yeah, it's the actual patterns, of the product.
You've done the drapery really well. They are so nice. Even though I can see like the pattern itself, you didn't bend the patterns, but just simply by using the shading,
it gives that effect.
Yeah. So it's really nicely done. I like this one as well.
For my other work, for D&AD, those statues, actually, they're not that detailed as like this ones, because I was only using Illustrator. I always start working on Illustrator and I do the foundation on Illustrator.
So we have a few examples of that as well. Like this work is probably a good one to show it on.
Yeah, it is, as you can see, it's vector based, and I start doing like working like this, and I then add the details.
You can switch to Photoshop.
So yeah, this is the detailed one, and I do this on my Cintiq tablet. And weird fact, because I start learning Illustrator before Photoshop, so it was quite beneficial. But people tend to start learning Photoshop first, then getting into Illustrator. But I think it was quite good for my practice, because then I'm really feeling confident when it comes to doing like motion design animations, because I do have this like Illustrator background. Basically, in After Effects, the animations I do, it's more like I just move around the objects. So it's not actually like frame by frame, like old school animation. Yeah. So it's more like vectors. I just like that motion effect in general. When I think it's really satisfying to see like how it does it. And I don't have animation background from uni that much. I mean, I study illustration, but we also had chance to learn a bit of animation briefly. Having this UI UX direction, now I'm more into animation, and I do animation quite a lot these days actually, and not only for my illustrations, also for the website, like buttons and transitions and interactions.
I just wanted to mention our After Effects masterclass that we have on our site is actually recorded by one of my friends who's also from Turkey.
Oh really?
Özgür.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he's really good. Like he's an amazing instructor, specializing in like After Effects, Cinema 4D. We also have another course from him. Yeah, I really like this one as well. This is really, really nicely done. And so just for those who don't understand how to do something like this, the steps would be that you do your Illustrator objects, which would be like the final frame where everything grows out. You take those into Photoshop to add all the textures, which we've seen already. So a similar example to this, where you have the details and textures added. Maybe we have also something else like this one as well, I guess. You can see the Illustrator version and the textured version. Is this Game of Thrones?
Yeah, it was nice for the final one. Yeah,
it's really cool.
It's quite recent. And we didn't really know the ending. It's for social media. We didn't know how it's gonna end, so I just predict that it's gonna be some dragon. I don't know. Destroy the throne, just burn it, and
So you're on fire.
I predicted.
It's hinting it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so spoil.
But so once you have all your assets ready, you would export those as separate files, and then import everything into. Do you take your actual Photoshop file into After Effects, or do you take them one by one?
Not one by one. I directly take it like a Photoshop file, export it as Photoshop file, and import it into After Effects.
And then After Effects keeps them all as separate elements. Like in the example that we've seen here, I can see like all of these are the separate elements that you can select and work with. So here, for example, you would have, I guess it's a bit tricky because you have lots of elements here, but having them all as separate elements allows you to move them around and animate them individually. So what do you have in mind when you start an animation? Let's say like the one where you have these trees growing out?
This one was quite experimental actually, because for the other one I kind of needed to plan it, but this one is just like elements popping out. So this one was quite easy to plan, but I always start doing like static image and then thinking about how can I turn this into an animation. This one is also quite simple, like just elements moving around.
I love like little details being animated, like the leg movement. I really like that. I didn't even notice it, but then later on I could see it. That's really nice. And I think, I mean, this became a very trendy style, having like a framing device and then things coming out from it. Also this textural detail on a very sharp vector design, and you do it really well. It's both in terms of the animation and even for like the static illustrations. But you actually have a couple of different styles that you explored in the past.
Yeah.
So this wasn't like...
From uni.
Yeah, from uni. There's all kinds of different things. So whoever visits your portfolio can see that you are continuously developing the way you work and try different things. What's your inspiration of using statues? Have you always liked statues, or what was... Because I can see like a lot of your work involves statues.
Yeah.
And also, do you use like do you actually go and see these statues in real life, or do you just...
I do like I mean, I do like the historical part and the stories and like the mythology, Greek mythology. I mean, I love it, but I was not really like obsessed with them. The only reason why I started was D&AD. That brief from Indigo Hotel, and the brief was about you needed to pick one of their hotels and do some promotional like illustrations for their hotel, and I picked the one in Rome. So that's why Rome. I just came up with this idea, just re-illustrating these statues in this hotel facilities. So it did work quite well, and I mean, obviously I won the award. So after that I just kept the same style for my other illustrations, with the one with the fish, for example. I don't know, I like being a bit surreal and absurd.
I really like this one as well. Is this a recent one? I haven't seen this before.
It is a recent one, but I've done it in September, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, long time.
I haven't seen this one, but this is again slightly different from the others. You have almost like paper type of effect here as well, which is nice mixed with the sculpture, and also like a bit more playful with the colors. So this is cool. So hopefully this insight into another artist's work, someone who is doing a bit of everything, illustration, motion design and UX, will be inspiring. And again, you've seen and learned about why is it so important to take risks and take on challenges, like both the award that you won and that solo exhibition were like amazing achievements. These are the things that's going to excel you and push you forward and achieve more in your career. So thank you so much for coming and showing us your work.
Thank you for having me.
Let us know in the comment section what would you like us to cover next time on this series. Click on the link in the description or the join button to become a member if you want to work on future projects with us and see the whole design or illustration process live. Thanks a lot for watching. Like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Have fun learning, guys, and I will see you in the next one.